visions. I've seen it in my manifestation. I'm sleeping this guy and going to create the most viral knockout ever. We're sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm going to beat your ass. And I'm going to beat Jaden on Love. On my mom, I'm going to beat both of y'all ass.
For them.
Will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
Gervonta Davis fired back after Jake Paul reportedly claimed he'd knock him out in just 3 rounds, a bold statement that's turned the already intense build-up into something personal. Many critics and insiders believe this fight puts Davis's reputation at serious risk, since it's unusual for a fighter of his level to take on such an uneven matchup. A loss would raise big questions about his legacy, but if Davis can push through the size and power advantages Jake brings and still come out on top, it would be a defining moment, one that could shape how boxing fans remember him for years to come.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned mine?
Jake Paul has turned up the heat by promising to deliver the knockout of the year when he faces Gervonta Davis. He's clearly not viewing this as just another fight. He wants a moment that grabs global attention. His comments make it clear he sees this matchup as a chance to prove himself, silence critics, and create a highlight that will go down in boxing history. By aiming for a dramatic finish, Jake isn't just chasing a win, he's betting on spectacle, trying to make this fight about legacy and showmanship as much as competition.
This thing is going to be watched by hundreds of millions globally. Jake, give the people one thing that you can guarantee that they're going to get on November 14th when they tune in to Netflix.
Yeah, you're going to see the 2 biggest fighters in America go head-to-head with an amazing card. World championship fights back to back, and that's just how the MVP way we do it. And I'm gonna come for a knockout of the year again. I've seen it in my visions, I've seen it in my manifestation. I'm sleeping this guy and gonna create the most viral knockout ever.
Rolando Romero shared his thoughts on what might happen if Jake Paul were to knock out Gervonta Davis, saying it wouldn't damage Tank's legacy in any real way. He reminded fans and critics that Davis is already a 3-division world champion and one of the most respected names in boxing. In his interviews and social media posts, Romero stressed that a single loss, even a knockout, can't erase years of hard work, championship wins, and proven dominance across multiple weight classes.
You can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them.
Will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him. Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or like all that stuff, right? At the end of it, bro, we just want to do what's best for ourselves, right?
Facts.
Right or wrong.
Facts.
So just do what's best for you.
Rolando Romero gave a balanced perspective on the upcoming fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He said that no matter the outcome, Tank's legacy is already solid. He's a multi-division champion with major accomplishments to his name. Romero explained that Davis doesn't need to prove anything by beating Jake Paul. Still, he acknowledged that Jake's size advantage is real and gives him a physical edge. Even so, Romero emphasized that this difference doesn't take away from everything Tank has achieved throughout his boxing career.
Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or as an exhibition, we don't know if they throw at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
Daniel Cormier was clearly shocked when he found out that Gervonta Davis would be fighting Jake Paul. In a recent clip, DC called the matchup ridiculous, saying it looked like a total mismatch and questioning why a top-level professional like Tank would agree to face an influencer boxer. He admitted he never thought someone of Davis's caliber would take part in a crossover fight like this. Cormier also raised concerns about the size and power differences between the two, warning that the spectacle could end up hurting the credibility of Tank's career.
From Las Vegas. When Luis told me Gervonta Davis is fighting Jake Paul, I said, get the bleep out of here. I said, you're a bleep liar. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. Gervonta Davis is that much better than Jake Paul at boxing. But Gervonta Davis in his last fight weighed 133.8 pounds. And I'm not over here in the business of just crapping on Jake Paul. I am much more respectful of what he's starting to build as a professional boxer. You're fighting a guy that's better than you. He's just much smaller. But that guy, because he's better than you, what if he wins? Everything Jake Paul has done is wiped completely out. Gervonta Davis loses to Jake Paul. Obviously, it's going to hurt who Gervonta Davis is. But he lost to a guy that's going to be upwards of 70 pounds bigger than him when he steps into the boxing ring. But I will tell you this right now, without a shadow of a doubt. I will watch this. Tank Davis is 30-0-1. You want to talk about Jake Paul fighting a real boxer? That's a real boxer. You can't make this stuff up, man. It's true. They're fighting.